Everybody. Hope you had a good week. Welcome to The Drop, joined by our all smarts and all-knowing digital person, Jill. Hello. Thank you for joining us. And our all smarts and planner strategy person, Len. Is that fair? Okay. So for The Drop this week, we were kind of kicking around this article from The Atlantic. The title of the article is "Please Get Me Out of Dead Dog TikTok." Not the most joyful read, and we don't want to depress on The Drop, but what we found ourselves actually talking about from this was a little bit more about our bubbles and our social media bubbles. And are they good? Are they bad? Do we like it? Do we hate it? And, I think when we talk about our bubble, it really is just about the algorithms in our lives and the data in our lives and how social media platforms are showing us content based on our interest, right? Based on our behaviors like clicks and likes and all that kind of stuff. So are we in our own bubbles? And if we are, do we like it? Do we hate it? So Len, I'm going to throw it to you to kind of start us off here from strictly an advertising perspective. Can I say unbiased? I don't know, but from an advertising perspective, what's the take on bubbles? Are we happy with bubbles? Are we not happy with bubbles?
I mean, from within that domain, I think we're happy with bubbles because people can get in those niches where you know that you can target their interest and serve them something that they want. I mean, I think what's most interesting about something like this Dead Dog article, which is about people on TikTok just seeing videos of people in their last moments or days with their dogs, is that if you're targeting dogs and you're a pet food brand or you're for some reason you just want to target dogs or people who like dogs, you might show up next to one of these videos. And that's probably not the association you want. Yes, there's probably more technical stuff you can do on the back end to try to subvert that association. But just at the most general level, there's a possibility that you'll show up because that's showing up alongside the algorithm because it's your interest. So I think it's good from that perspective. Maybe go bubbling out a little bit more from that. I'm not exactly sure because since people are so tightly in their lanes, you really have to try to break in with, say, natural content. So you might just be one of many amongst all these images. And I mean, everything's trending because people are scrolling and liking, but so you might not actually be getting that engagement that you're seeking for in the first place. But from a pure targeting standpoint, always be careful, always have someone watching what's going on. But it's great because people are attached to their interests. So you can get them at those right moments.
Yeah, and it makes the KPIing of our lives a little bit easier too, right? Just more clarity and clean in that regard. And you brought up a point, which Jill, I want to ask you about, is Len, you said, you talked about this. And so I actually find myself on the fence with this. I like when brands find me in my bubble. And I found myself during the pandemic being like, oh yeah, those sweatpants are great. Because those were sweatpants that were curated by my data and a brand pushing me stuff, right? But then there's also part of me that really misses the days of serendipity and whimsy and discovery, which I do think the bubble has become so thick, it's hard to penetrate that with those things. And so, Jill, from an emotional side, actually from a psychiatrist side, help me a little bit. You can send me your invoice, but no, from a digital side, what role do emotions start to play in this? I mean, like I said, I'm kind of like, I have a foot in both worlds. So just like as a person, as a consumer, I can kind of see it from both angles, right? And so I'm kind of split in where my emotional, I guess, currency is with the data today,
Yeah. And so like Len touched on already, the algorithms are tailored to your interests, your likes, what you're clicking on, what you're viewing, what you're interacting with. And a lot of them also prioritizing, especially as of late, content that elicits emotions, strong emotions, whether they're positive or negative, like the Dead Dog article. If it has a very prominent emotional tie to it, that content usually performs better, which again, algorithms then prioritize and you start seeing more of it and content similar to it and people in your bubble or outside of your bubble who like that same kind of content. So it can to some degree get nauseating because yes, again, maybe you like those pants, but you have other interests than pants, right, Mike? You have other things you want to see, other people you want to interact with, other likes. I don't know, Len, I said maybe. But there are, you know, the prioritization of, you know, those interest levels and likes. And then obviously the more people that like this certain video, interact with this certain video, the more people that get served it that have similarities with that. So just like a headline in a newspaper, right? Sensationalizing, eliciting some type of emotion, that's what sells. Same on social media. The more emotional tie you can have to content, inherently it thinks it's more valuable. And so that's why those algorithms prioritize the more emotional, good, positive or negative type content. So that's why, you know, these people that are getting stuck in these little realms, you know, maybe it's trying to delete and recreate your account and your interests and making a concerted effort to maybe block accounts of content you don't want to see anymore, or, you know, start actually intentionally going to accounts you want to talk to and hear more from and making that a priority. So there are some things you can do, but again, that emotional tie, positive or negative, that's huge on social. That algorithms love that, eat it up.
Yeah, and maybe from a brand perspective, keeping on the Mike sweatpants example, if I'm a jeans brand, instead of reaching Mike to talk about like durability and all that kind of stuff, maybe it is more comfort, right? Then it's maybe understanding what that data in Mike's bubble is giving him and how do you go in, right? So it probably puts more onus on that brand strategy, that brand plan, and thinking about it that way too. So, all right. Jill, thank you. Len, thank you. Hope everybody has a good weekend, and we'll see you all next week on The Drop. Bye.